Namaskar, good evening viewers. It's 9 p.m. Time for the news on Sansad TV. I'm Bhawna Nayar. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll take you through all the important developments from the national and the international arena. First up, as always, the headlines. Shiv Sena Minister Eknath Shinde claims support of over 34 MLAs. Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray says he will quit if even one MLA does not want him as CM. Prime Minister urges BRICS countries to create a startup network, asserts efforts underway to improve ease of doing business in India. NDA's presidential candidate Draupadi Murmu to file nomination on June 24th will face opposition candidate Yashwant Sinha in the election on 18th July. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and his Australian counterpart review defence cooperation in bilateral talks. Massive earthquake causes devastation in Afghanistan. Over 1,000 people killed. Tremors felt in Pakistan and India as well. Let us now quickly bring you some more important stories of the day. Prime Minister Modi to attend G7 summit in Germany on 26th and 27th, visit UAE in the second leg of three-day tour. Foreign Minister Jaishankar leads Indian delegation to Kigali, Rwanda on 26th Commonwealth Heads of Government meet. Defence Ministry approves BRO cafes on 75 border roads in 12 states and UTs. BRO cafes to provide basic amenities to tourists, boost economic activity in border areas. Culture Minister G. Kishan Reddy inaugurates JYOTIRGAMAYA Festival in New Delhi on World Music Day. Festival showcases talent of unsung performers. Prime Minister Modi to inaugurate Vanijya Bhavan, the new premises of Commerce and Industry Ministry on Thursday, also to launch new portal, Nayar. ED attaches assets of EMTA Co Limited and partners worth ₹27 crore, agency probing money laundering charges levelled by CBI. One Nation, One Ration Card scheme operational in entire country after its implementation in Assam. CBI files fresh case against former CMD Kapil Wadhwan and Director Dheeraj Wadhwan of DHFL in ₹34,615 crore bank fraud case. BJP wins 22 president seats in Haryana civic poll. Independents win 19 and AAP 1 president seats. Voting for 18 municipal councils and 28 municipalities took place on Sunday. President Biden nominates Indian-American scientist Dr. Aarti Prabhakar to key White House post. Dr. Prabhakar to serve as Director of Science and Technology Policy. Now the big story of the day. NDA's presidential candidate Draupadi Murmu will file her nomination on 24th June. Announcing her candidature on Tuesday after a meeting of the BJP Parliamentary Board, Party President JP Nadda said a woman from a tribal community has been chosen for the first time for the top constitutional post. Born on 20th June 1958 in Odisha's Mayurbhanj district, Murmu belongs to Santhal community. Draupadi Murmu began her political career when she became a councillor in the Rairangpur Notified Area Council in 1997. She became a minister in Odisha's BJP coalition government from 2000 to 2004. She was elected to the assembly twice in 2000 and in 2009 from the Rairangpur seat. In 2015, she was made governor of Jharkhand. She held the post till 2021.
न्यूज देखिली आउ मु वर्तमान किसी कहवा को चाहे ना परवर्ती समय में आपण को मु जहाँ भी बाइट देवी वर्तमान नुह है कहीं आपण को धन्यवाद आपण एते कष्ट करी आछंती.
BJP President JP Nadda also had a meeting with party leaders involved in the polling process. Murmu said she will reach out to members of the Electoral College for their support. BJD President and Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik has also appealed to all members of Odisha Assembly to support Murmu, calling her the daughter of the state. A presidential candidate requires a set of 50 proposers and 50 seconders for nomination. Meanwhile, the centre has accorded Z+ security to her. Opposition candidate for presidential polls Yashwant Sinha held his first campaign strategy meeting on Wednesday at the NCP office in Delhi. He said that the presidential election is not an individual battle but a fight for the issues facing the country. He also thanked the parties that supported his candidature. He was nominated by the opposition parties including Congress, TMC and NCP on Tuesday. Sinha will file his nomination for the presidential polls on 27 June. Presidential election will be held on 18th July. Moving ahead, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has appealed to the BRICS countries to invest in India. He was addressing the virtual opening ceremony of the BRICS Business Forum. He said BRICS was established with the belief that this group of emerging economies could emerge as engines of global growth. The Prime Minister asserted that India is expecting 7.5% growth, which makes it the fastest growing major economy.
BRICS विमेन बिजनेस अलायंस भारत में हो रहे इस ट्रांसफॉर्मेटिव बदलाव पर एक स्टडी कर सकता है। इसी तरह इनोवेशन लेड इकोनॉमिक रिकवरी पर भी हमारे बीच उपयोगी संवाद बन सकता है। मेरा सुझाव है कि ब्रिक्स बिजनेस फोरम हमारे स्टार्टअप्स के बीच नियमित आदान प्रदान के लिए एक प्लेटफॉर्म विकसित करे।
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh held bilateral talks with Australian Deputy Prime Minister and Defence Minister Richard Marles in New Delhi today. The two leaders carried out a comprehensive review of defence and security pillars of the India-Australia Comprehensive Strategic Partnership. They also welcomed the growing diversity and frequency of defence exercises and exchanges between the two countries. They also reaffirmed their shared objective of an open, inclusive and rules-based Indo-Pacific. The two leaders explored industrial cooperation in the defence manufacturing sector as well as the ways to enhance capabilities of their militaries. Both the ministers committed to give fillip to the India-Australia Joint Working Group on Defence Research and Material Cooperation, which will meet in Australia later this year.
Bilateral defence cooperation is an important pillar of our comprehensive strategic partnership. Our close defence and security cooperation is an important factor of stability in the Indo-Pacific region. Australia is a key partner.
Marles is on a 4-day visit to India till 23rd June. He was accorded a ceremonial guard of honour ahead of his meeting with Defence Minister Rajnath Singh. Marles also visited the National War Memorial and paid homage to the war heroes while laying a wreath at the monument. The rebellion of Shiv Sena leader Eknath Shinde has left the Maha Vikas Aghadi alliance in a precarious position in Maharashtra. In a Facebook Live, Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray said he was ready to quit as Chief Minister's post if Sena's MLA want him to do so. He also asserted that the Sena and Hindutva can't be separated. Meanwhile, rebel Shiv Sena leader Eknath Shinde, who is in Guwahati, Assam, has reportedly claimed that he has the support of 40 MLAs. A Shiv Sena legislature party's resolution signed by 34 MLAs has been reportedly sent to the governor, stating that Shinde will continue as the leader of the Shiv Sena legislature party. The 288-member Maharashtra Assembly has a majority mark of 145. Before the crisis, the MVA had the support of 169 MLAs, which included 55 from the Shiv Sena, 53 from the NCP and 44 from the Congress. And news now from across the nation. Prime Minister Modi will attend the 14th BRICS Summit starting on Thursday. The theme of the summit is promoting high-quality BRICS partnerships for a new era of global development. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar met the President of Ethiopia in Addis Ababa today. Both leaders shared their perspectives on the regional and international situation. Congress Chief Sonia Gandhi has written to the Enforcement Directorate seeking adjournment of her appearance for a few weeks till she fully recovers from COVID infection. The BJP-JJP alliance scored big victories in the elections held for 46 municipal bodies of Haryana. Of the 28 municipal committees, the BJP won 12, the JJP 2 and Aam Aadmi Party won 1 and Independents won 13 seats. The last 24 hours saw 12,249 new cases of COVID-19 in the country. Patients under treatment have increased to 81,687. The Jammu-Srinagar National Highway was closed for the second day in a row due to heavy rains and landslides in Ramban district of Jammu and Kashmir. Many vehicles were stuck in the road. Tamil Nadu dispatched the second consignment of relief material to Sri Lanka. A ship carrying 14,700 metric tons of rice, 250 tons of milk powder and 50 tons of essential medicines left for Colombo. Now let us take a look at some stories from the world of business and economy. The first BRICS Energy Cooperation Forum was held in Beijing with the theme Deepening BRICS Energy Cooperation for Green Transformation and Development. A joint initiative entitled Contributing Energy to BRICS Sustainable Development in the Post-Pandemic Era was released. It proposes 10 joint actions in 4 areas of maintaining energy market stability, eliminating energy poverty, cooperation in the energy industrial chain, and independent emissions reduction. Sri Lankan Prime Minister Wickremesinghe praised India's efforts to help the island country recover from its worst economic crisis, adding that financial assistance provided by India is not charitable donations and that Sri Lanka would formulate a plan to repay these loans. He acknowledged that the Sri Lankan economy had collapsed and was in talks with the International Monetary Fund to obtain additional credit facility for his nation. The BSE Sensex plunged 700 points while the Nifty 50 lost around 225 points, with metal stocks being the major losers. Most global stock markets also ended in red, with Hang Seng, Kospi and Taiwan losing more than 2%. European markets also ended on the lower side. On the other side, smart roads of the future that will charge your electric vehicles while you are on the move. All this after this short break. You stay tuned to Sansad TV.
The glorious journey of India's 75 years of independence, protection of rights, ensuring equality, to empower, to deliver justice. Laws that have defined India and its people. Laws that everyone should know. Watch 75 years. Laws that shaped India. With me, Hemant Batra, only on Sansad TV. We all know the importance of good health, but often we don't know how to achieve it. There's plenty of information available, but again, we don't know what is right and what is wrong. To know the truth and get your answers straight from some of India's top specialists, join me, Dr. Amrish Mittal, on Healthy India, only on Sansad TV.
क्या आप किसी कानूनी समस्या से घिरे हैं? नहीं पता क्या करें? क्या कहता है कानून? क्या हैं आपके अधिकार? समझिए कानून की बारीकियों को कानून की पाठशाला में, सिर्फ संसद टीवी पर।
Welcome back after the break. You're watching the news. Time now for all the main developments from the Russia-Ukraine war front. The Kremlin said European Union sanctions that led Lithuania to ban transit of goods from mainland Russia to its exclave of Kaliningrad were absolutely unacceptable. It said Moscow is working on retaliatory measures, although it did not specify what these countermeasures will be. Russian and Turkish delegations will continue consultations on safe vessel departures and grain exports from Ukrainian ports. Ukraine is a top wheat supplier, but its grain shipments have stalled and tons of grains are trapped in silos ever since Russia sent troops into the country. Moscow blames Western sanctions for the shortage. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov will travel to Indonesia for the G20 Foreign Ministers meeting on 7th and 8th July. He will have several bilateral talks on the sidelines that is preparatory to this year's G20 summit. Specifically, Lavrov will meet with his Chinese, South African, Brazilian and Mexican counterparts. Russia is preparing to deploy a large number of reserves to the front lines of Donbass, the UK's Defence Ministry has said. Heavy shelling is continuing in the east around the Severodonetsk area. Russia's ambassador to the United States has said that his office hadn't received any request from Washington about the 2 Americans captured in Ukraine. The comments came after the US said Washington had been in touch with Russian authorities about the 2 US citizens who were reportedly being held in the self-proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic. A Ukrainian photojournalist and a soldier accompanying him appear to have been coldly executed in the first few weeks of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Reporters Without Borders said that the bodies of Max Levin and serviceman Chernyshov were found on April 1st in woods north of the capital Kyiv. The group said it counted 14 bullet holes in the burned hulk of their car still at the scene. Belongings, including the soldier's ID papers and part of his bulletproof vest and the photographer's helmet, were also recovered, it said. Russia's war in Ukraine is on the verge of triggering yet another crisis. The summer harvest season is round the corner. But for the farmers in the war-hit Ukraine, it is a major challenge. Here's a report.
As harvest season approaches, farmers in Ukraine are facing a new challenge. Crippled by the dangers of the ongoing war, high fuel prices and unserviced equipment, the farmers fear losing their produce and even their lives if they go out in the fields to harvest.
Диспаливом також немає у нас диспалива, тому що ціна велика. І кажуть, що ціни на зерно також не буде. Ціни ще немає і не об'являють, але ми її не знаємо. Ну, це не так уж важливо, тому що все-таки, якщо дійдуть бойові дії, ми боїмося, що ми не скосимо. Тому що кожен день, кожну ніч ми чуємо, що обстріли приближаються все ближче і ближче. І уборка. Неділька, 2, і треба буде убирати нам. Ну як убирати, ми ще не знаємо. Ну, по крайній мірі, ми все одно надіємося, стараємося, що ми його уберемо. Ждемо тут, сидимо всі, ждемо, хлопці готовлять техніку. Будемо якось косити, будемо якось старатися.
With just a few weeks left for the harvest, farmers are getting ready with their machines and staff, with the chilling sounds of war looming large.
Да, може бути ще те, що коли механізатор працює на полі, він не може побачити міну та наїхати на цю міну і зможе підірватися на ній. Це теж небезпека. Ми всі ризикуємо, але будемо обирати цю пшеницю.
Farmers are also facing challenge from the market force, as the few traders who are buying their produce are paying well below the market value. Russia and Ukraine export nearly a third of the world's wheat and barley and more than 70% of its sunflower oil. The Russia-Ukraine war is set to trigger a global food crisis as the grains are not able to leave the breadbasket of the world. A crisis that will hit the developing and poor countries the hardest. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
And time now for some other global updates. A powerful 6.1 magnitude earthquake rocked Afghanistan early Wednesday morning, killing over 1,000 people and injuring nearly 1,500. The deadliest earthquake to strike Afghanistan in decades shocked 4 districts of eastern Paktika province, where rescuers were scrambling to treat the injured. The quake struck about 44 kilometers from the city of Khost near the Pakistan border. Hundreds of houses were reduced to rubble and rescuers are looking for survivors trapped in the debris. The European Seismological Agency EMSC said the tremors were felt over 500 kilometers by 119 million people across Afghanistan, Pakistan and India. Rescue efforts are underway. And could we have a wireless electric roads to charge electric vehicles in the future? On the Swedish holiday island of Gotland, a first of its kind, Smart Road is helping power an airport shuttle bus. The technology could soon be charging 2,000 kilometers of the country's busiest roads. Would you like to acquaint yourself with this upcoming technology? Please have a look at this report.
This airport bus will be powered by the road it's driving on. Visby, a town on the outskirts of Swedish island of Gotland, is testing the Smart Road, a 1.6 kilometer long demo project. It uses dynamic power transfer technology that allows electricity to wirelessly flow from 1.5 meter long copper coils built under the asphalt to 3 receivers installed underneath the bus. It is transferred via induction, a technology that's seen in electric toothbrush chargers, modern stoves and more. The road is the world's first for charging larger trucks and buses, vehicles and delivers targeted energy just to them. Israeli company Electrion developed the technology. Tests have seen a 40-ton truck reach speeds of up to 80 kilometers per hour with an average charge of 70 kilowatt from the electrified roadway. The technology will eventually drip down to personal vehicles like electric cars. While other companies use conductive technology that rely on direct contact, like a pantograph similar to those used on trams. Only Electrons uses wireless technology. But amid faster charging technology and bigger batteries, the technology may soon become outdated. In April, a Mercedes concept vehicle drove over 1,000 kilometers on a single charge. The Smart Road was completed in December 2020. There are similar projects in Italy, Germany and Israel. A full-scale pilot is planned for the next year when around 20 kilometers of Swedish roads will be electrified. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
And now some more news from across the world. In Britain, tens of thousands of railway staff have gone on a strike over a pay dispute with the government. The strike, said to be UK's biggest rail strike in 30 years, kicked off on Tuesday. Major stations were largely deserted, with only about 20% of passenger trains running. The Rail, Maritime and Transport argues that the strike is necessary as wages have failed to keep pace with inflation, which has hit a 40-year high. Prime Minister Boris Johnson has described the strike as wrong and unnecessary. Bulgarian Prime Minister Kirill Petkov's centrist coalition is on the brink of collapse as it faces a no-confidence motion on Wednesday. The no-confidence motion was filed last week by the centre-right opposition GURB party, citing failures in public finance and economic policy in the face of sharply rising inflation. Meanwhile, about 1,000 pro-government protesters converged near the Parliament building to support Prime Minister Petkov. Malian national flags were at half-mast in Bamako on Tuesday, the first of the 3 days of mourning decreed by the government following weekend attacks that killed dozens in the center of the country. The government said that the attacks, in which 132 people were killed, were carried out by the jihadi rebels in Kadiba group in the Bankas area on Saturday and Sunday. Myanmar's defense minister on Wednesday attended the ASEAN defense ministers meet with Southeast Asian counterparts in Cambodia. This despite widespread calls for his exclusion because of the ongoing violence waged by Myanmar's armed forces against opponents inside the country. Hundreds of civil society groups had appealed the Cambodian authorities not to invite him, saying he played a key role in directing the military's campaign. Lebanon, Egypt and Syria signed an agreement on Tuesday to import Egyptian gas to a power plant in northern Lebanon through Syria. The deal would increase badly needed electricity supplies in Lebanon, which is suffering under a severe energy crisis and chronic outages. The agreement still needs to be signed off by the World Bank, which is supposed to finance the process. And time now for all the sporting action. Starting with hockey, the Indian women's hockey team came from a goal down to beat USA 4-2 in its first match of the FIH Pro League doubleheader in Rotterdam, Netherlands on Tuesday. Daniel Grega gave USA the lead before the Indians forced way back through the deep. Grace Eka 31st, Navneet Kaur 32nd and Sonika 40th to take 3-1 lead. The American reduced the margin in the 45th minute through Natalie Connort's penalty corner conversion before the Vandana Kataria sealed the game in India's favour. In cricket now, Sri Lanka has won the 5-match ODI series against Australia. With the match remaining, Sri Lanka have taken an unassailable lead of 3-1. In the fourth match against Sri Lanka's 110 helped the home team to 258 all out. The Aussies seemed moving towards a series levelling win, but with Warner getting out on 99 with a team score of 192, the visitors got in trouble, and though Cameron Green kept their hope alive, the Australians ultimately got all put for 254, thus losing the match by 4 runs. Mumbai were 248 for the loss of 5 wickets at stumps on day 1 of the Ranji Trophy final match against Madhya Pradesh. Yashasvi Jaiswal scored 78, while captain Prithvi Shaw made 47. Sarfaraz Khan was batting on 40 at end of the first day. For MP Anubhav Agarwal and Suresh Jain took 2 wickets each. Pakistani batting great Zaheer Abbas has been admitted to the intensive care unit of a private hospital in London. According to reports received, Abbas, 74, was moved to the ICU 3 days after getting admission in St. Mary's Hospital in Paddington, where he was put on oxygen support. One of the most elegant batters of his time, Abbas had contracted COVID-19 while travelling to from Dubai to London. In football, Chelsea striker Romelu Lukaku has rejoined Inter Milan on a 1-year loan deal after a disappointing spell with the Premier League club, according to reports. Inter are reported to have negotiated an €8 million loan fee to sign Lukaku, who reportedly agreed a pay cut to leave Stamford Bridge. And before we wrap, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Shiv Sena Minister Eknath Shinde claims support of over 34 MLAs. Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray says he will quit if even one MLA does not want him as Chief Minister. Prime Minister urges BRICS countries to create a startup network, asserts efforts underway to improve ease of doing business in India. NDA's presidential candidate Draupadi Murmu to file nomination on June 24th will face opposition candidate Yashwant Sinha in the election on 18th July. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and his Australian counterpart review defence cooperation in bilateral talks. Massive earthquake causes devastation in Afghanistan. Over 1,000 people killed. Tremors felt in Pakistan and India as well. And that's all we have in this bulletin. To keep yourself updated, stay tuned to Sansad TV. Till then, goodbye, namaskar.